Okay, Ryan, I just thought I'd shoot another video here in answer to your question, and the reason is because there's some things about the recording that this guy did and the tab which makes it a little harder for the student than it needs to be, and so I'll go over those things. This is also kind of a demonstration, and I'm really pushing the camps, obviously, of what happens within a camp, because you have to really, if a student is playing something and want to improve it, you really have to break it down. Student has to practice it, and this is about the only environment that I know that that works to do this. So I'll show you so the first thing is the lead in. Lead in. They say that the lead in lets you know where the downbeat is, or lets you know where the first beat of the song is, or the count out. The count off does. Lead ins and count offs can almost be the same thing, but the count off takes you to the first note. So people say, I want to do the count off so people can understand what the first note is they're going to be playing. Well, the guy I used to work with at an apartment complex, he said that you explain things to people where they can't misunderstand. Okay, and that's a big difference between possibly being able to understand and can't misunderstand. So the count off has to be absolutely perfect. So this count off goes something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And it's really, I had to listen to it a few times before I knew where the first beat or the downbeat of the song, which is the first note in measure 2. I had to go through that a few times. So, well, what would be a good count off? Well, a good count off would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Very succinct instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So if I was using the word precision, I'd say I'm going to be very precise. I'm going to be very precise and tell you exactly where the downbeat is. That's one way to do it. The other one, I'm going to be real precise and tell you kind of where the downbeat is. Okay, so let's do that count off. Now I'm also going to do a different lead in, because this lead in is a little bit confusing once again when you're trying to be absolutely precise. So the lead in I'm going to do is, okay, and I'm going to put a uptick note, which is the third string open, into that. So the lead in is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and then I'll play the first note of measure 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. We'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, now that second measure actually works pretty well. So let me do the lead in and play the second measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, then we go to the third measure, and that's really not a particularly powerful lick. And then the fourth measure is, so when you hit the first note of the fifth measure, that has to be really solid. So let's do the fourth measure and the fifth measure. Okay, and of course that first note of the fifth measure starts a roll in that measure. So hopefully what's happening here is I'm playing and accenting where you're able to hear where those beats are. So let me do the first 5 measures and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? And then we will go, let's see, then the measure 6 goes. That's measure 6 and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So let's play up to that point. Now measure 7 once again. Really doesn't have much drive naturally, so you have to provide the drive. So it's all right. So let's play the first 7 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and then measure 7. And then the measure 8 is, let's see. And that's kind of an awkward lick because you're accenting that and then somehow have to get this finger up to do the pull-off. That's kind of an awkward movement. All right, so let's play up through measure 8, and that'll be the end of this. And I'm going to stop this video here in a minute because for some reason the camera will freeze up. But here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's that. So we'll go, actually until it freezes up. So I've been trying to explain this to people when they call about what I can't, when I say camp, we're talking about 2 instructors and 2 students, okay? And what that lets us do is go into the detail that we just did on this video, but even more in that we have the student play it. We make corrections, student plays it, we make corrections. And if you were working on this song, I would, during that 2-day period, about every 30 minutes to an hour, I would actually have you play it for me and make sure that you absolutely had it down. And then we would go over other things in minute detail. And of course, in the midst of all this, since you've been to a camp before, we tell jokes and act like total idiots, you know. Because one of the things that has to happen in the camp, you have to be relaxed, you have to have a feeling of well-being, and you also have to have time to let the knowledge integrate into your mind. So that's kind of that. So in your particular case, I think you're to the point where you probably ideally should come to 3 camps a year, and after the first 3 camps, when you hit number 3, I think you would see an unbelievable difference in your playing. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, and this is for everybody, is the concept of, well, how do you get to be a professional sounding musician? And the 2 things that we've discovered are absolute perfect timing, and then you have absolute perfect technique. Now, even if you're playing at super, super slow speeds, if you've got great technique and great timing, you will have drive within that playing. Curtis and I, Curtis being one of the fastest guitar players in the world, and I do a song called Wild Bill Jones, and it's very driving and it's really slow, okay? So that is basically that. Okay, so I'm going to play this a couple times, not with the tab, just improvising, and we never know how that's going to come out. But a lot of times on these videos, I'll just do it for fun. So I will do the same lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. hopefully this answers some of the questions you may have wondered about. I'm assuming I know what the question was, but maybe I missed the question. But anyway, so put this on YouTube and we'll just see what happens.